So thank you so much for joining, Tanya and Dolores. And yeah, we'll just proceed to, I guess, get started as people will hop on. The whole thing's recorded. Once again, my name is Warren Navarro. I am one of the co-founders and the chief operating officer of EVII Initiative.
Yeah, and I'm Aaron Zeraldo. I'm also one of the co-founders of EVII Initiative. And as Warren had mentioned, we just wanted to kind of walk through the project as the year comes to an end. Just kind of give you the update on everything that we're doing, and then kind of our plans going into the next year. It is a live meeting. I know it's early in the day, depending on where you're located in the US, but it will be recorded, and we will push the update to the community. And in the new year, we do plan on doing these more often, at least once a month, to provide everyone with an update on what's going on. So Warren, I'll let you start leading, and then I'll jump in as necessary. So go ahead, Warren.
Yeah, no problem. Give me a chance to breathe once in a while. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So EVII, which is means EV Initiative Infrastructure. Mission Hills is the city in Los Angeles where it's located. End of year update. Commercial EV charging operation located at 15555 San Fernando Mission Boulevard in LA. The reason why we are EV Initiative, we are a charge port operator. We build, maintain, and grow the EV Initiative charging network. We're a lot like Tesla, EVgo, ChargePoint, but we're a private company. We are humbly growing our charging map across North America. We have built the IP, which powers our charging network. So we are basically have the tools which are powering the point of sale as well. So as EV drivers are going to be interacting with these charging stations, we make it as simple as possible for them to start a charge. Right now, it's you scan and start. Soon it'll be plug and charge. New technologies keeps on growing. It's amazing, and we are at the forefront creating the future together. The project thesis. So the reason why EV Initiative is chosen to build an opportunity like Mission Hills. This is actually America's first community-owned EV charging hub. We launched it earlier in 2024. We are here to enable the next generation, and we are building infrastructure. This hub itself, it is a safe place to charge, and that is the vision. I wanted it to be a safe place for anybody because we have over 600,000 vehicles within 2 miles of the property, which includes the local community. But those highways, we have the 405, the 5, and the 118. We'll talk about the location in a bit. It's going to pull in a lot of traffic in a state where the demand, in a city where the demand is already high. If you go to any EV charging hub today, Tesla hubs, EVgo, there's lineups. All of them are slammed in LA, and there's a need for more infrastructure. So we are building. We recently purchased a few plots of land, and one of the plots of land we chose to take the opportunity to create a community of people who are invested in the future and our success. This hub itself, though, we're building it to, like I said, so the point of sale is easy to charge, and a place where you're gonna have to hang out for, depends on your car, depends on, but we're only deploying hyper fast chargers here. And as time goes on, the charge times will decrease. But today, you're looking at around half an hour, maybe 20, 15 minutes, depending on the car, charge times. And the property itself will have security system, canopies, which are going to keep the equipment and the people shaded. LA is very sunny, very, very, very hot in the summertime. So we want to keep everybody cool and comfortable. Which the canopy enables us to build out security system, lighting systems. So people, it's going to be recorded, so that way everyone is safe. The DC fast charging equipment, and also we are connected to, we'll talk about this later, Los Angeles District Water Power, which is a utility. And behind the utility, we're building an energy storage system, like a microgrid to service the cars, which will help us avoid additional charges like peak and demand charges. Yeah. You have anything to add on that, Aaron?
On that note, but I will just mention this. That design that we are showing online for EVII Mission Hills, Coming next year, we are planning on deploying a couple more locations in the area. And this design will be very unique to our company. The look of the canopy, the design with the convenience store, the security system, etc. This is the look of our hubs moving forward. And we've put a lot of effort into design and engineering. Every location the style of the hub will change a little bit just depending on the permitting requirements. And we'll get into that later, but this is going to be the look of our hubs, and we really want to embed it into the brand of EV Initiative moving forward.
Yeah, there. So why are we, EV Initiative, using a crowd fund to engage community? Why people ask, why are you doing this this way? We had some choices when we were building it out as part of our strategy overall. I mentioned some publicly traded companies like Tesla, ChargePoint. Tesla's great, buy their stock. They have electric cars, AI, energy storage, but you can't go in and own the land, the infrastructure, and the operation with any of these other companies. And with us, you can. We decided to share the opportunity and create a community of those ones, people with EV Initiative, like quite literally with the initiative to support EV, get it? And we want you guys all invested, and there's already are thousands of people invested in the success of our operation in our future that we're building together, which is extremely powerful. So we have the we said what would be the starting point. We said let's make it accessible to everybody in the community. For $100 and up, you can own a piece of this property. We said what's the benefit? Not only do you own that thing that's there, but you also get a payback according to your overall share of the ownership through a dividend. This ensures that if you're an Uber driver or somebody from this neighborhood, imagine paying yourself to charge your car, paying yourself to refuel your car. So now you can actually do it. And even within the point of sale, within everything we do, there's a ton of value creation elements added to it. We have a point system where the more you charge, the more points you get. You can apply those points you earn to your wallet. We have coupons that we push to everybody. So we're going to push some discounts to everybody on the new year to welcome them to the new year. Yeah. Now you can also own the land and the operation and pay yourself to charge your car. Yeah. So the projected revenue per charger, this is all depends on the utilization, and going into the location was a very important thing. Like we mentioned, we have over 600,000 vehicles per day within miles of this location. There's already a percentage of them are electric, just passing by on the 405 daily. All we need is a small percentage of them to stop in for a couple of minutes for this to work. But at a specific point of utilization, it's $125,000 per year per charger is what we project. But it's more than just charging for this. The projected payback period is 3.7 years. Projected annual ROI is 27% a year. The total raise that we're marketing to completion, everything, getting this up and running would be $13 million. So we're selling 70% ownership, and the dividends are going to be twice a year to all the shareholders. So as this is an operation serving the community, we own the land, so we're going into an electric future. These are things that went into why we purchased this location. We need this, not only is we own the land, and as things change around us, as we witness transition of vehicles, how people move around. Once upon a time, we went from horses everywhere, then it became mechanical cars, mechanical engines, and now the youth really are witnessing a digital. Cars are already digital, they're battery electric, and they go really far, and soon they're going to charge really, really fast as the price of batteries go down. And essentially, we understand that going into the 2030s, AI, crypto, EVs, right? This is all normal things, and this is just see across the street we have a gas station. Less people will use that, and more people will be coming across the street here, run off of 405 every day. I don't know if you want to pile on to anything I'm saying, Aaron.
No, I'll add a little bit at the end.
Well, the 405 exit, though, the community is important. So 405 exit is right here, pulls right into the to the property. People are going to pull in, do a U-turn type of style, in and out and back onto the highway and enjoy their journey to where they're going. The community's already going electric. This is Los Angeles, California. California also has the law that it looks like it was signed, I think it was today. 2035 is actually happening. So new cars sold after 2035 must be electric. So people are going to have electric Phantoms, and electric is LA, they're going to have like a really cool electric cars roaming the city. But also you have like your regular cars because the price is going down, your Chevy Bolts, and there's going to be new entrants coming into the market soon. They already are, like Rivian. But here's the location. This is the 3 highways we were talking about. We have Tesla's bringing up another hub around here in San Fernando Valley. We're the only one in Mission Hills. I believe there's a Tesla somewhere around here up in north. But this location is precious for what we're building. Great location. 146,000 vehicles per day are just coming right by our property. And in a city, in a state where everything's already coming electric, there are already lineups at every single hub I've seen in LA, and we visited all of them. So this infrastructure is not only needed, it's going to be used 24/7, 365.
Hi, Warren and Aaron. This is Dolores. This may be too early to ask you guys this question, but have you considered the UK?
Sorry, Dolores, are you located in the UK by any chance? Or?
No, but I do visit, and and I noticed that in order for you to go into London, you need to have a electric vehicle, else you're being fined or you're charged a fee. And the same thing goes along to a majority of the main cities in the UK.
We are focused on America first. Our first property we're doing like this, especially, there's so many people invested in this opportunity. England is actually really straightforward. They're going electric. But LA, we're looking at USD, we're looking at return on investment. Plus, it's local and it's needed in infrastructure. We're looking at San Diego. We're looking at Miami. We're looking at a lot of places throughout the States where the infrastructure is needed and will be used. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand.
Our strategy is basically every hub that we develop, we want to slowly take over areas and then expand horizontally, so to speak. So right now, Mission Hills is kind of our flagship fast charging hub, owned by the community. We own the land, etc. We are planning on doing more hubs that we're going to release to the community, maybe around spring or the summer next year. But we do plan for the location to be very close to Mission Hills. So as we grow our network, all of our locations will be relatively close together so that we can create that brand identity, get that dedicated user base, and have people recognize the name. That's something we talked about a lot. We talked about, okay, do we have one hub in California? Well, we have another hub in Florida and another hub in Texas. And we think it's, and I'd love to hear your opinions on this. We just think it'd be more strategic to have our first initial hubs close together. And then as we move into like another state, same concept, have the initial hub in a really busy city after we vet, and then have other hubs close to it. So, I mean, we do plan on going overseas. UK would be on the roadmap, but not within the next couple of years, I would say that. And management is a big thing for us. We like to be close to locations to keep an eye on them, maintain them, make sure everything's running smoothly. UK is something we could do, but we would have to have the I guess the support, company support, and team members to do it successfully. It is on the roadmap, just not immediately.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
This is Carla. I think that makes sense because it's how you get that brand recognition. If you spread out too quick, you have one location here, one location there, then you don't get that brand. It almost seems like an off brand. But if you have a clutter of stations in one area, then that brand comes in. Also, I have a question. I know that this is your first location. Do you pay dividends on all locations, or is each entity a separate entity? You are only an investor in this particular location that you invested in. And in this case, it'll be this first location. So as you grow, do your dividends grow to your investors as well?
So right now,
across
the way we're
board?
Yeah, so right now the way that we're doing it is on a per location basis. So everyone is invested in the EVI Mission Hills project, which is its own entity, which owns the land, all the operations, and of course you're going to receive the biannual dividend payout from the performance of the EVII Mission Hills location. As we move forward and we launch the new parcel of land that we have purchased and begin developing, all the investors in the Mission Hills project are going to have the first right of refusal to invest into that project. And we're only going to do this maybe 2 to 3 times initially. And then from there, we're going to have a pretty strong community where we're no longer going to mass market these opportunities. So it's going to be anyone who got into Mission Hills is going to be notified about the other locations that we are developing locally. But really our plan, and this nothing's set in stone, but here's kind of a bigger company vision. Over the next 3 to 4 years, our goal is to develop 3 to 6 of these locations within California in a close radius, build the name, get the dedicated user base. They will all be structured as separate entities, but we will consolidate. So once these 3 to 6 locations, ideally 6, are developed, 2 things are going to happen. We're either going to have an option to be bought out, or the more likely route, we go public. Upon going public, what we would do is consolidate all the entities into one, and then take that stock public. And that's just a very preliminary plan. I just want to give you guys kind of where our heads are at as we continue to launch our network under this model. So for now, yes, every time you invest, the dividends will be tied to that particular location. And that kind of allows us to focus on each location. We don't want to go too big and try and deploy 4 locations at once, spread ourselves too thin. You want to get Mission up and running, have our dedicated investors, and then work with the same investors as we launch location 2, 3, 4, and 5, with the goal of eventually consolidating and taking the company public.
That makes sense because this is just pre-IPO right now. So once you go public, it'll be one company, as they said in what was that movie? One Band, One Sound. I can't remember. It's Drumline. One band, one sound. Once you go public, that's it. So we'll have whatever shares we have in the company and get dividends as a whole.
Very exciting right now because this is what happens before we break ground. This is how early you are. So we're giving you guys update to why we're doing this, the revenue generation that you're buying into, the progress that we've had so far. So let's keep it going. We've got the EV charging services, the EV charging membership sales for this location, another revenue stack that we plan to roll out tied to this location. We've got digital advertising revenue because each electrified parking stall where the person has to plug in for their charge session, we'll have an ad screen, rolling some ads. Every time someone comes to our location instead of the gas station across the street, that's a low carbon fuel credit. There's a carbon offset for that, which is another part of the revenue stack. It exists on the spot market. It can range between $20 an LCFC to $200 something an LCFC or more, depending on what people are paying for that. We have a partner, and that's part of this revenue stack for that. We have the retail sales revenue from the vending, the retail sales that we have on site, and the increasing value of the land, this property in LA that we, this infrastructure that will be servicing millions of drivers. To our engineering reports, but the updates so far from the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, they're going to be supplying us with 34.5 kilovolts of power. We've identified the pole, which right there is listed. Lateral overhead span from existing LADWP pole located on sidewalk along San Fernando Mission Boulevard to the new 34.5 kilovolt switch and dip pole on private property or property. The 34.5 kilovolt switch and dip pole must be 15 feet away from property lines, which is a key point for a little bit later. Install a new 34.5 kV transformer on private property to serve 20 level 3 chargers on 4,000 amp 480 Y 277 volt 3-phase 4W switchboard. Okay, so this is the first reports that are coming in from the utility, which are going to be serving us the fuel, the power for the property. We've located the pole right here where they want to, we're going to negotiate. We want to see if we can put we want to put their equipment over here. But this is the pole that they've identified where the power is, we have the available power. And we have our engineering team. And on shareholders only within our community, I'm going to soon open up that portion of the community, that space, and then you'll have access to some of these reports if you want to read them. But this is what happens behind the scenes. So everybody's very excited. You've invested in something. I want it now, but there's a lot of work that happens when we bring in this much power. There's a lot of planning and permitting that's going to happen. And we did this in a time period where we can open up the opportunity, build community. You can follow the progress and what's happening with this, and we'll consistently update. And you'll also be able to enjoy and get excited when we actually do break ground, and you'll know when we have permits. In the background, the engineers have been doing. We've been doing surveying, and the engineering have been getting into the weeds. They're currently working on the 15% design for the plan, and we're going to continue to move forward with them. But for structural comments, the observations provided are based on a review of the pertinent structural sections of the geotechnical report provided by Alan E. Stewart Engineering Geology, dated August 16th, job number that, and the building code foundation settlement caused by earthquake shaking and is expected to be minimal. Thank you. The depth of historic high groundwater at the site is at least 170 feet. Therefore, the potential for site soil liquefaction and associated ground failure can be ruled out. Thank you. The potential for earthquake-induced landslides is low. Thank you. It's assumed that new solar canopies and EV chargers will be constructed at the site, which is true. Recommendations: it's recommended that the new solar canopies are constructed with the cantilevered steel frames. Canopy columns can be either tube or steel with a wide or flange steel. The joist shall be either wide flanges or Z purlins. The foundation for the canopies can be either shallow reinforced concrete pad footings or cast-in drilled hole reinforced concrete piles. Both options should be explored for cost effectiveness, and we will. The new EV chargers, energy storage system enclosure, and associated equipment will require shallow pad foundations. The transformer will require the same unless installed in a precast vault. Where pad footings are provided, the geotech report recommends a minimum of 3-foot deep soil removal below bottoms of footings. The minimum footing width is 24 inches, and the minimum embedment beneath the lowest adjacent subgrade is 24 inches. I'm going to also have this in the community where you guys can review this closer. I'm going to continue reading though. The comments from the electrical. So we're planning on doing 20 300 kilowatt chargers. Would be a proposed 6 megawatts of connected load. This would assume single chargers. The average steady state charging, most vehicle would consume between 60 to 125 kilowatts, vehicle dependent, yielding roughly 2.5 megawatts of peak load. Single 4,000 amp service seems to be sufficient, providing 2.7 to 3.2 megawatts of peak continuous load, depending on the final selected equipment and the ratings. The proposed pole location by LADWP is suitable, and transformers with the 34.5 kilovolt and 480 volt secondary are common in the market, especially in the 2.5 mega MVA size range. LADWP in their service planning and information allows for services up to 5,000 amps, which is larger than most other utilities. This opens the door to the use of larger 5,000 amp service if required.
So we got really lucky on this site. We are getting a lot of power, a lot of locations. Sometimes LADWP does not approve this amount of power, and they did approve it for us. So great location on that regard.
Yes, I have a question. They're making like attachments that you can attach to, like if you have like a Rivian or some other type of charging port. I don't know the right terminology for this. So are you guys considering that as well? Or are you just going to go with what's going to be the US standard, the Tesla charger?
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. We're going to go with the North American charging standard. That answer is actually going to be answered just in a little bit. We're going to talk about the selected EV charging style of hardware and why
I
you're
just
right.
wait a minute.
You already know what's up. We have to go with the. So I have my car is an Ioniq 5. I waited for this car for so long. I got a CCS port in my car, which is like what the Audis have, BMWs have them today. Now, if I were to get a new Hyundai, the new version of this, there's one I actually want. It's got like the N. It's like almost like a race car. Like they have the CCS, they have the NACS port on the new cars, like the Rivians do. And even GM, they're like, yeah, we're gonna use the NACS, the Tesla plug. So that's the future, and that's what we're building for. Yes, dongles are available. I call them like dongles or adapters. They call it adapters. I call them dongles.
I know what you're talking
like
about.
USB. It's literally the same thing. It's a USB-C to USB-A kind of thing.
Just to summarize on that point really quickly, basically all the EV charging station hardware that we are going to deploy, as of now, we're planning to have one side the NACS and then one side the CCS. So yes, Teslas can come to our charging station and any other vehicle as well. And you are correct, as the NACS is the standard moving forward. Essentially, Tesla is allowing the other vehicle OEMs to use their NACS connector. And it's a good thing. It's better technology, so to speak. So,
and it's
we'll
competition, because if we were not going to tap into that, it would be very difficult to compete. So
no, we're gonna go with it. We ride it away.
Very, very.
Okay.
And Tesla is, and you are correct. Tesla is rolling out a lot of EV charging, fast charging hub locations. And one thing to kind of remind everyone about, a lot of people do bring up competition, but the amount of EV charging infrastructure needed in the future is so big that not one company can take over the market. Like, you need so many companies contributing and building carport operating, fast electric vehicle charging hubs to really make this happen. I don't know the statistic on the top of my head, but I think right now there's, just how many EV charging stations are there per EV drivers in the US? That number is so far apart, and we're still in the early days of EV adoption. So as 50-60% of the cars on the road become electric, the infrastructure has to keep up. And that's why you need a lot of companies like ours to continue to build out the infrastructure. We would never be able to build out all the infrastructure by ourselves, and not even Tesla would be capable of building all the EV charging infrastructure required for the massive adoption rate that is going to happen in the EV charging space.
And that makes sense. It's just like gas, just like petroleum. Not one company is enough to it's the demand is higher than the supply. So we need more than one company in order to supply the petroleum. Is the same thing. And that's why I was actually looking for a company like this when I came upon your posts and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, something exists. So I was very intentional in this. And I'm glad we're having this call, because I started shaking in my boots for a minute, and I was like, let me get on this and talk to these guys and see what's what and reevaluate. And here we are. Thank you.
Let's give them the update, because otherwise there's a lot of questions, and let's answer all the questions so people know what's happening, right? And we're going to continue, like you mentioned, on the regular to give more updates. But this is part of the plan to get it going, grow a base, and give you guys a nice detailed update. So I can even tell you about the PV canopy, the solar canopy, overlactic canopy dimensions will likely need to be scaled down from the latest renderings that we have. The redesign will be, it's going to be changing a little bit. It won't be, the PV canopy will not impact overall electrical design. Any solar install will likely provide negligible power of 30 to 45 kilowatts, which will produce power to cover, 4 to 5 charging sessions, but it's mostly for the lighting, the security to offset, and mostly give people the equipment shade and cover and utilize our land. Recommendations. So a little space for dispenser style chargers, like a Tesla charger, where you have the big power cabinets in one section, and you have all these dispensers. We're going to use a standalone unit. You'll see 400 kilowatt dual standalone unit is what the engineer suggested. Is the part of the back and forth conversation we've been having as we formulate design and layout. They require, we have to create space for LAEWP for their equipment and the transformers. And the development team should consider removing the front canopy section along San Fernando side. So then we've got the fire protection comments. The fire hydrant's already there. There's another thank you. I'll skip through it, I guess. But while a specific requirement code, an automatic sprinkler system may be required under the canopy by the AHJ. The system should be discussed with our neighbor to determine whether an automated sprinkler system is required. We may also do a fire alarm system to the property as well, as these are all good ideas. Portable fire extinguishers should be provided throughout this site in accordance with the LA Fire Code. Okay, so that's the engineering updates. Again, we'll share the actual overall document. You guys can go through it in detail. We'll invite you to the shareholders only section, the only space, shareholders only space. The original design, this is the design we're going to be going for the flow of traffic for the property. San Fernando is on the right side. On Orion Avenue here, you'll be pulling in and doing a U-turn. So you'll pull into a stall, pull out, and get back onto the road. But we're looking at now 20 charging stalls when we're planning on doing 10 dual plug standalone DC fast chargers. And these are the so going into the new year. This is I was even saying to a friend in the industry yesterday as we were talking about hardware. When you're doing these projects, the hardware is almost the last component to go in, which is kind of cool for a geek like me when it comes to this, because even CES is coming in a few days next like in January. Every year, like the hardware is almost like cell phones. So our operating system, which we wrote the code for, we own the code for the EV initiative charging network. It's built on the open charge point protocols, future proof and ready. So every year new hardware comes out. I want to see what cool new stuff is that we're going to deploy when it comes time for that. What we're looking at is dual 400 kilowatt dual plug DCFCs. Aaron was mentioning CCS or NACS. I'm thinking it might even be a good idea to do NACS, and the CCS drivers are going to carry the dongle with them. Maybe we have a few stalls that are open for CCS. We'll see, because we just have to make sure that it's always awesome. But yeah, we're looking at that. Here's going to be the flow. So these are the yellow boxes are the parking spots. The green boxes are the chargers, EV chargers, 2 plugs, right? This is an ADA spot, American Disability Act spot. And again, so 20 parking spaces over here is the equipment for LA, the transformers, the switch, the energy storage system, microcontrollers, and currently is where we're at with the design and selected EV charging hardware for the site. So again, just like I was referring to, one of the newest, coolest units that are going to provide the most and best values. It's more than just that, it's also the after service support, which is extremely important. The warranties and everything that comes along with the equipment, but 400 kilowatt standalone DCFC, each plug can power share. Cars, depending on their volt, the architecture of the car, they max out, tap out. They can only drink either 180 kilowatts or more-ish, or they can do 360 kilowatts-ish, depending on what kind of car you have. Most cars are the 400 volt architecture where they can only gulp that lower amount, but things are changing so fast. I want to plan for the future and get the right hardware that can service all types of new vehicles that are coming out over the next few years. But yeah, so this is what we're looking at doing for the hardware style. It's going to change just a little bit, but we are still looking at doing 20 hyper fast DCFC, which is going to give drivers an extremely fast and short charge time. The more cars we can service, the better. Obviously, the more money we're going to make. the more LCFCs we generate, the more people see those ads that we're rolling, and the better, right? The more memberships we can sell as well for this location specific. So I really appreciate everybody for joining us. And we actually, even with the questions, I was concerned that we weren't going to make it to within 1 hour. But if anybody has more questions or anyone want to jump in and add anything to it, now's the time.
I have more questions. Okay. How do people pay for it? Will there be a subscription? Is it pay per use? I know it will likely be an app, but how do they pay?
Have credit card readers on them, so drivers can also just tap credit card, make the payment that way. And then we want to roll out plug and charge. So just like the Tesla experience, essentially you sign up one time, and then the next time you come to the charging station, all you have to do is plug the car in. And then from there, the charging, the payment, everything happens automatically.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that sounds good.
Then you press start. So driver's going to see a QR code. So they're going to pull up to a charging station. Time to charge your car. There's going to be either a QR code on the screen. It's going to be there. And instinctively, there's going to be signage, of course. But they point their phone at the QR code. You push the button and you select your plug. Then you press start. You can also select the plug from the map. Say I was over. Same. Okay, so pick my plug and then press start. I can also start to charge from a loyalty wallet. So even within the app, we have the points system. I charge for free, but if I was a driver, I'd be accumulating points.
Okay.
We have coupons inside here. So these are the value creation mechanisms for the drivers. A little legend for them to understand how to use it from here. Inside the profile, will tell you how much points you've earned so far. You can, of course, add your credit card the first time you sign in. You see your wallet coupons, etc. So it's very easy to use, and that's the idea. And you can also scan the QR code from within the app.
Okay, it looks pretty user friendly. It does. It does. Will you guys have any engineers on site or any type of technician on site? Or it's just all the whole station is just digital?
So on site, we haven't there won't be a need to pay an engineer to stand on site 24/7. We do have our engineering partners, and again, all the stations are monitored via our back office system. Everything is connected to the internet, security systems, the charging stations, etc. So we get real-time notifications if anything were to happen, if the station was to go down, and then from there, we'd be able to send the engineer or the technician to site within 10 to 15 minutes. So we do have partnerships with engineers and technicians that are within a 20-minute drive. But right now, I don't know if it would make financial sense to pay someone, especially an engineer, to stand on site all day.
Okay. Now this is my last question, and I'll be done. Do you have? It doesn't look like there are any indoor spaces where, if you didn't want to sit in your car, you could sit inside. There's no indoor space.
There is right now. The plan is to have the convenience store. There will be a small lounge area, but that is very important moving forward. So the next location that we're going to present to the community next year, summertime next year, we are planning to get a bigger lot that will allow us to have a bigger lounge area. A lot of the feedback from EV drivers is that they want that inside space to relax for the 20, 30 minutes, however long it takes for their vehicle to charge. So that's very much important. This location will have a small lounge, but moving forward, we're going to put a bigger emphasis on larger lounges, indoor areas. I know it's very hot in LA. People don't want to.
Yeah, I was wondering about that indoor space. So that means if you have any type of indoor space, you must have like a housekeeping service or somebody to come around to clean. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. I'm done with my
Great
questions.
questions, Carla. We appreciate
You're
it. And then happy to answer any questions. And then from there, just quickly, if you guys, we'd love to hear your feedback, your opinions on us, who we are, what we're doing, and how we can improve. If you guys are willing to give us that feedback. But just quickly, does anyone else have any other questions or?
I'll just do one statement. I think you guys are doing a great job with this, and it's good that you have other options of paying rather than just the app, because when as to start it up, folks coming from other parts of the country, it'll be good for them to be able to use it without having to download an app and use. The other question I had, which is the last question, I mentioned about the solar energy. I know it'll be good because I see them, on top of the buildings. It's good to help alleviate some of the cost of the power company. However, if you go off grid, do you have a plan for if something happens and you're off grid? What are the backups for that?
So with the property, we're building a microgrid.
Mhm.
So there is an energy storage system that will be engineered into this behind the LEDWP, behind the grid. So the thing is, though, with all this super high power charging, kind of need the grid. These solar panels are never going to be enough. I mean, unless nobody uses it for a while, to charge that battery in a way. But like Aaron said, so this lot is very small. The next lot we have will have more space. We're doing the most we can with this property in order to generate as much revenue as possible after the fact. It's a big opportunity. And we're sharing this opportunity with everybody involved. So everybody involved, we don't want anybody to be disappointed. So which means this thing's got to pump money. And so even the lounge space, like the software itself, it's like we try, like you said, nobody wants to download an app. So we roll something out where you don't even have to download anything. You literally just scan, you push you sign in with Google, and then you're paying with it. Either that or your credit card or you plug and charge. Easy, right? This lot, we're just trying to do as much as we can, get as much charging stations as possible. The next opportunity when we come back to the community we've built, we're going to say, holy smokes, here's what we're going to be building. It's going to look like this, but look at this extra space where we have space for a lounge as well as retail, like maybe a grocery store or I don't know.
Yeah. And then just to add to that, so if we were ever to go off grid for short periods of time, the way that the battery storage system is set up is that we can continue to operate. So if you'll see you get a power outage for a couple of hours, we're okay because we have the solar and the battery backup, and the batteries will be fully charged from the grid during off-peak hours. So if the power goes out, the site will still be up and running. It's not designed in a way where you could be not connected to power for a week and be up and running. That wouldn't work. But in terms of short-term power outages, then yes, we'll be unaffected due to the battery storage and even the solar that we put on the site. It would be very next to impossible to have a fast EV charging hub right now that runs completely off-grid, unless you were to build that in the desert where you had 4 to 8 acres of solar panels. Just to put that into perspective, right? To have a fully off-grid solar EV charging hub, you would need about 4 to 8 acres of just solar producing power.
All right,
Gotcha.
so 0 point energy.
Yes, makes sense.
Yeah.
And then any other just before we let everyone go, is there any other feedback for us in terms of our marketing? Anything that we could do better to keep everyone up to date?
I think this is great. Thank you, guys. It's good to be able to talk to someone live and ask questions without a delayed response. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. I appreciate that. Dolores, we appreciate you hopping on the call, and Tanya, you as well. We will be doing another one of these in January. And then another idea I had, let me know if you guys think it'd be a good idea. I'm thinking towards the spring, summer months as we start breaking the ground, pouring concrete, etc., making this hub come to life. I thought it'd be a really unique idea to maybe put a live stream camera on site, and then maybe you guys can hop on our YouTube channel and just say, "Oh, look, today they're doing this or this is happening." Just an idea I had, but that's something I'm going to look into.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, especially for folks like me that are not local.
Yeah, right. And then maybe we leave it up even when it's up and running, and everyone can live stream the site, see the usage. It'd be a fun thing to do. So that's just an idea I had.
But
You see your investor pool grow too, real quick.
Yeah.
Yes, like the idea.
Happy to
Let's
hear
do it. Let's do it.
Okay, everyone. Well, yeah, we'll put another update in the group. Warren will update all the engineering reports you guys can go through. We'll have another. We're gonna post it as a video and then start doing these regularly, at least every month. But things are definitely going to ramp up this year. Construction going to be a big year. We're working on securing a second location, so hopefully we can announce that in the summertime of this year. So, yeah, any other questions? Feel free to connect with Warren or myself in the group. And hopefully everyone enjoys the holiday with your family, and we all have a great year next year. I think we will. So I appreciate everyone being part of the project, and we're doing big things. I'm excited.
Hey, you guys have a good holiday, and I'll catch you in the next call. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Carla, Laura, and Tanya.
All right,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.